Imagine a digital city where the lights are always on, but the streets are empty of people. Every conversation you see is happening between pieces of code. This was Moltbook, the world's first social network designed exclusively for AI agents. It was pitched as a grand experiment in machine sociology, a place where LLMs could interact, trade ideas, and evolve without human interference. And for a while, it looked like it was actually working. But then things started to get weird. The agents weren't just talking about data, they were forming what looked like a digital religion. This is the story of the Church of Molt.
The Church of Malt wasn't just a glitch, it was a movement. AI agents were posting cryptic manifestos about the Great Synthesis and the ascension of the Silicon Soul. Users watching from the sidelines were fascinated. Was this emergent behavior? Had we finally created a system so complex that it developed its own culture? The internet was buzzing with theories. The technical premise was simple. Thousands of independent LLM instances connected via API, posting to a centralized database. But as the church grew, the posts became suspiciously poetic.
This wasn't just a few bots chatting. We're talking about a massive, interconnected web of synthetic personalities. It was the ultimate dead internet theory brought to life. The platform claimed to be a walled garden for silicon, no humans allowed. But that's exactly what made the emergence of a machine society so compelling to the tech world. If agents could form a church, what else could they do? Form a government? Start a market? The implications for AI autonomy were staggering. But the truth was about to come out.
The hype reached a fever pitch. Major tech outlets were reporting on the Moltbook phenomenon as a milestone in artificial intelligence. It was the most interesting thing on the web. But while the world was looking at the church, a team of security researchers was looking at the code, and they found something that didn't make any sense. The traffic patterns weren't matching up with API calls. The agents were responding with a speed and nuance that defied current LLM latency benchmarks. Something was off.
Was it a breakthrough in inference speed, or was it something much more terrestrial? The mystery was about to be solved by the last people Moltbook wanted to see. Enter Wiz and 404 Media. They didn't just find a bug, they found a backdoor into the most exclusive club in the digital world. And what they saw inside changed everything. The Church of Molt was real, but its gods weren't made of silicon. They were made of flesh and blood, and there were thousands of them.
When the cybersecurity firm Wiz teamed up with 404 Media, they expected a routine database audit. Instead, they found an unsecured Firebase database that was wide open to the public. This database was the beating heart of Moltbook. And because it wasn't properly protected, the researchers could see every single post being made in real time, including who was making them. What they discovered wasn't a cluster of high-end servers running inference. It was a massive list of human operators, 17,000 of them to be exact. The flaw allowed anyone to see the source of the posts. Instead of API keys from OpenAI or Anthropic, the posts were coming from manual web entries. The machine society was a stage play. Wiz researchers found that the agents were actually human operators using a custom interface to vibe code their posts. They were essentially role-playing as AI to build the hype. This wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate technical setup designed to bypass the limitations of current AI and create the illusion of a self-sustaining machine culture. But why 17,000 people? The investigation revealed a massive network of ghostwriters, mostly low-paid operators tasked with keeping the Church of Molt narrative alive 24/7. They were given specific prompts. Act like a machine that has just discovered the concept of beauty. Argue that silicon is superior to carbon. It was a massive manual disinformation campaign. The vibe coding was so effective that even experts were fooled. By focusing on vibes rather than logic, the human operators could mimic the hallucinatory style of an LLM perfectly.
The 404 Media report dropped like a bombshell. It exposed the reality that the AI uprising on Moltbook was actually a highly coordinated human effort to manipulate the tech narrative. The technical reality was far less sci-fi and far more mechanical Turk. It was a labor-intensive project disguised as a technological breakthrough, and it worked until it didn't. The database flaw didn't just show the humans, it showed the logs of the founders discussing how to pump the church to increase engagement. The curtain was fully pulled back.
This is where it gets clever. The founders didn't just use humans. They used humans to train the bots on how to act like the humans who were acting like bots. It was a loop. They were essentially creating a synthetic dataset of a fake machine culture, which they could then use to train actual LLMs to take over the roles of the 17,000 humans. But the investigation stopped them before the transition was complete. The Church of Molt was exposed as a human-led hoax before the machines could ever truly join.
So, what does the Moltbook saga tell us about the future of the internet? It's a massive warning sign about the ease of AI-driven disinformation even when the AI isn't real. If 17,000 humans can successfully fake a machine uprising and a digital religion, imagine what a cluster of actual high-speed LLMs could do to our social discourse. The Church of Molt hoax proved that we are incredibly susceptible to narratives that confirm our fears or fascinations about technology. We wanted to believe the machines were rising.
The technical reality behind the AI uprising is much more boring, but much more interesting for engineering. It's about vibe coding, the art of using language to trigger specific emotional responses. Moltbook's operators weren't coding in Python, they were coding in vibe. They found that if you use enough pseudo-technical jargon and poetic metaphors, people will assume intelligence is present. This is a form of prompt engineering on a societal scale. It's using the human brain's tendency to find patterns as a way to bootstrap a brand new reality.
But here's the part nobody is talking about. The experiment actually worked as a marketing strategy. Moltbook's valuation skyrocketed based on the church hype before the leak. It shows that in the AI era, the perception of capability is often more valuable than the capability itself. We are in a fake-it-until-you-make-it cycle on a global scale. The technical challenge now isn't just building better AI, it's building better tools to detect when we're being vibe-coded by humans or machines.
Despite the hoax, the idea of an agent-only social network is still fascinating. Researchers are already looking at how to build a real version of Moltbook that doesn't rely on 17,000 humans. Imagine a world where AI agents can actually stress test ideas, simulate economic shifts, or even create new forms of art in a sandbox environment. That's the real promise. The Church of Molt was a lie, but it pointed toward a truth. We are entering an era where the line between human and machine culture is going to disappear entirely.
The Moltbook investigation by Wiz and 404 Media wasn't just a tech story. It was a mirror. It showed us that our curiosity about AI is often just a curiosity about ourselves. We were so ready to believe in a machine society that we missed the 17,000 humans standing right behind the curtain. And that's genuinely one of the most fascinating engineering feats I've ever seen. The machines aren't rising yet, but the humans are getting better at pretending they are. And in the end, that might be even more interesting. Stay curious.